The Philippines is a country blessed by nature, but the very same beautiful places that people often call a paradise are also the most vulnerable to climate-driven disasters. A situation made worse by the economic challenges and political issues experienced by many Filipinos that distracts attention from the problem of resilience and preparedness in a country that has been ranked as the most disaster-vulnerable place on Earth for 21 consecutive years. Filipinos often move to safer areas when disasters happen, and many return to their homes when a sense of safety has returned, but some have to move permanently in search of livelihood. Category 5 Typhoon Yolanda in 2013 took the lives of more than 6,000 people, displaced over 4 million people, and should have been the eye-opener that pushed the country into definitive action. It was a storm that washed away entire communities, destroyed a city, and demonstrated the consequences of being unprepared. And even though the Philippines follows a whole-of-government approach to disaster risk reduction that mandates every part of government to participate in response efforts, the aid does not always match local needs. This mismatch also reflects in data. What traditional data in the Philippines represents about the needs and conditions of those on the move and those that are left out of these information channels. In late 2025, a magnitude 6 earthquake struck northern Cebu in the Visayas region of the country. 79 people lost their lives, 1,271 were hurt, and it affected close to 1 million people, many of whom were temporarily displaced. 8 months after the earthquake, people continued to live with the destruction, the loss of their homes and livelihood.
Naramdaman ko yung takot sa linog, sir. Takot kami ng paglinog. Hindi na ko na sa aking una-una. Kasi ang balay namin parang guba na yun. Hindi na kami nakatira dito. Doon na lang kami naghimog among higdaanan. Hindi namin makatira, guba ang aming balay. Wala pa kaming pira. Ipa-repair doon.
Violetta's story is one that's shared by many in her village. While there is data on housing and shelter needs for those impacted, they're often unable to measure the actual scale of damage. For some, their means to support themselves were tied to what they planted with their own hands. Some livelihoods were swallowed by the ground, collapsing into the more than 200 sinkholes that appeared during the earthquake.
Ang yuta din na may saging, makahalin ko gamay nga kanaang kuan ng saging muna magapait kog isda nga kanaang nya pila ba akong 2 kilos isda 300 kapin ang kilos isda pero dili pud permanente sir kay ngano kanaang wa na magay na saging niya kay tungod sa kanaang nangahumak dito sa kanang singkol moro na sir.
There are endless challenges faced by people that live in disaster-affected places. And one of the things that have helped many Filipinos weather difficult situations is with the help of family, friends, and neighbors, through a culture of sharing whatever is available to help others with.
May naranasan din ako na nakita ko na yung nag-evacuate na walang makain. Naghikot ako. Nabigyan ko siya ng kasi wala siyang makain. Binigyan ko po siya ng pagkain. Marami siyang anak. Yun po ang naano ko. Tapos minsan, mahirap din po, pero wala naman po kami magagawa pag dahil sa ganung sitwasyon, pag sa evacuetan.
Nagtutulungan po sila, tapos yung mga bangkang panghanap buhay, tulungan po talaga yan sa pagdala dito sa bandang taas para hindi abutin ng tubig. Bayanihan po talaga, kahit mga babae tutulong para kasi panghanap buhay yun eh. Ang gandang tingnan kasi nga tulong-tulong talaga yung tao.
In the Philippines, we call this Bayanihan. It's a sense of responsibility for others that Filipinos practice as a part of local culture, and often taught by example within families or learned from experiencing it as part of life in the community.
makakasurvive ang gulayan, at least merong pang maha-harvest, meron tayong maiaambag sa community or sa family natin. Kaya importante rin talaga na meron tayong food security. Kailangan din talaga ng mga yung online transaction kasi mas makakatulong yun, malilesen yung pag-travel mo. Ayun. Imbis na online na lang, imbis na maniningil ka pa sa bawat bahay. Ganoon na lang. Ayun.
As the only continuously operating volunteer bicycle messenger service for disaster response in the world, Bike Scouts has practiced Bayanihan or social teamwork to assemble help and support from people for events like typhoons, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, flooding, landslides, and everything else in between. Bike Scouts has a network of over 100,000 community volunteers across the Philippines and has supported over 700,000 people during disasters in the past 13 years. And we've been building our own platform for social teamwork, along with portable solar energy kits, a Bike Scout-specific mesh network, and a low-cost modular sensor that provides real-time data that will inform disaster alerts for communities with true local context. Filipinos have been known to be quick to adapt to disaster events, and one of the ways this happens is through the use of mobile phones and apps. Which is unsurprising for a country where nearly 82% of the population are active on social media, and nearly the same number access the internet using mobile phones. With a growing number of overseas Filipino workers supporting their families back home through remittances, response becomes a collective effort.
Ayun po talaga ngayon, maganda na merong social media, tapos yung mga madalian na lang yung pagpapadala ng pera. Hindi dati na telegrama o kaya money order pa yun, isang linggo pang hihintayin. Ngayon, so isang click na lang sa cellphone, pwede na. Ayun po, nagagamit po talaga
Malaking tulong po yung GCash kasi once na may pamilya ako doon ka sa malayo, ka lang na sabihin mo may masamang panahon, padalhan mo kami. Meron po mag-GCash na pamilya, may mahihingi ka sa malayo lugar. Papadala po sa GCash, sa Pimaya. Malaking tulong po yun.
Padala ng konti para pang pagkain ilang araw. Hindi naman mga mayaman ang mga kamag-anak mo. At least na mag-ambag sila para sa hirap. Mahirap talaga para na dasal ako sana hindi na maulit.
The people in the places that were recently affected by typhoons, earthquakes, and floods across the Philippines continue to do what they can with what they have. And to outsiders, it gives the impression of resilience. In reality, though, no Filipino actually wants to be resilient to anything if we had a choice. We don't know if things will get better soon. We don't know when the next severe flooding will happen, the next earthquake, or the next volcanic eruption, being a country right on top of the Pacific Ring of Fire. More importantly, we don't know how prepared our data systems or technological tools are to provide us with safety and security in times of crisis. What we do know is that we will always have our community, our Bayanihan spirit, and the Bike Scouts will continue to ride and make sure that every good intention and act of kindness of every Filipino will find its way home.